So I want to welcome everyone to our virtual Teacher Supporting Teachers series for this last week of spring break. Today we're going to be talking about Flipgrid. I'm just going to give you some introduction things for Flipgrid today. It is so fully featured and there's so much available that I think it's overwhelming in an hour. So what I want is just a little bit to get started, and then we're going to have another session next week so that you can learn some of the new, the other things you can do. All right, so our goals for today are going to be showing you how to create a grid and add a topic. And you might not know what those are. I'm going to show you. We want to make sure we've adjusted the settings because you have some options depending on how you want to use your grid. And then I want you to be ready to share a topic with your students just so they can start seeing how it works. But before we do, there's a lot of what is Flipgrid? Can I use Flipgrid for live conferencing? Can I use Flipgrid for this and that? So I want to show you what Flipgrid is. I want you to look at this screenshot right here. Okay, I put a prompt. In this case, I added a little video to the prompt. You don't have to. And then you've got this green plus sign. This is where you would go to record. Each of these thumbnails is a little video. You might even see yourself in one of these because this was from the Flipgrid training, I think in the fall. But each of these is a little video. So a student goes, looks at the prompt, pushes the green plus sign, records a video, and then after they finish their video, they're prompted to take a selfie, and that selfie becomes the thumbnail here, which you can add stickers and you can add drawing and you can decorate. So let's give it a try. Are you ready? You're going to do this. This is a little bit of a risk on a Zoom. I don't know how this is going to go. We're going to see. So what you're going to do to start, don't do it yet. I promise I'll give us a pause so we can do it. You're going to go to Flipgrid. You're going to enter the grid code. You're going to need to sign in with your email. And then you're just going to tap the button and add. You're muted, so it's not going to show on Zoom. It's just going to record your video. Now, I'm going to show you. Are you ready? Give me a second. We're going to see how this is going to go. Okay, hopefully, allow and show. There's my iPad. Okay, so I know a question is going to be, what does this look like on an iPad? So I figured I'd just start here. So let's pretend I'm a student and you're going to watch because in just a second, I'm going to stop and you're going to do this too. I'm going to open the Flipgrid app. And students don't need to sign in to Flipgrid, they sign into the grid. So where it says enter flip code right here, I'm gonna put in my flip code, which was FB6A0827. And then I'm gonna tap the arrow, it's gonna take me to the code. Now it's gonna ask me to sign in, and the reason for that is I set it that only people who are in the hsdschools.org or the wynimi.org domain can sign in. So I'm going to log in with Google. Flipgrid wants to use Google sign in, and that's fine. And now I'm in my grid. Okay, and here's my first task. Hello, welcome to Flipgrid. Tap the green plus below, then record a short video. Say hello, share a fun fact about yourself. So I'm going to tap on the green plus sign. Here's my video. I'm going to tap, not going to put my thumb over the camera. I'm going to tap record. Hello, I'm Liz Hoppy, and I do not have any fun facts about myself right now. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I recorded a video. Okay, so I'm done. So I'm going to the green arrow, which is right here. And then I have a selfie. I don't know why it's showing, it's lagging on my iPad, I'm sorry. Here's my selfie. And then do you see these tools right here? I can add stickers. Okay, sorry, the feed on the computer is slow. So I can add any stickers I want and then green arrow. Now it's caught up. Okay, ready? Now my grid is posted. Do you see it? Okay, if you have any shame about I don't like to post a video, I just posted a video and that's not even a good selfie. So here's what I want you to do. I'm coming back over here. If you're on an iPad, you can use the app, or you can go to flipgrid.com, same thing. Enter the grid code, sign in with wynimi.org, record, like, seriously guys, like a 2-second video. I just want you to try it, okay? I'm gonna be quiet. I want you to come back and give us a thumbs up on the screen when you're done so we know when we're ready to move on. All right, go do it. All right. Get your tab back over to our Zoom slides. If you didn't finish, that's okay. This Flipgrid is going to be open. In fact, if you're watching the recording, I'm going to leave this one open. Go record a video and try it out. Okay, I'm going to continue.
Liz, do you have some questions? Okay, this one says, how did Liz put her iPad screen on there?
So I put my iPad screen, and this is something that's really handy when you're at home. It's a program called Reflector Teacher. It looks like this. We have licenses for that, Reflector Teacher. And what it does, when I open Reflector Teacher, I basically use the iPad the way I would connect with Apple TV and go to screen mirroring, and my computer name shows up. It works on a Mac and on a PC. So Reflector Teacher, and honestly, it gives it a cute little frame. So I think that's pretty fun. So that's how I get the iPad up. So that's Reflector Teacher. All right, any other questions, Helen?
Some people were asking about recording. They didn't see the recording button. I assume, it looks like these are people that are using laptops. But it's a green button, correct?
It's that big green plus sign.
Okay, we're caught up with questions, Liz.
Okay, we're good? Okay, so you see how it works. Now, honestly, that might have been stressful for some of you. There might have been that frustration of, I'm not exactly sure what to do. I'm going to tell you, that's an adult thing. That's not necessarily a kid thing. And if it is a kid thing, we want to help them get past that. You know, that kid in the classroom who asks you a question about every single thing, and we want to help them develop some autonomy and answer their own questions. If this were in a live training in the lab, I would totally be doing that. Look at your screen. Where do you think is the first place you're going to go here? Okay, now look at this screen. What do you think you might do? So we want to encourage kids, when you get stuck, they've designed this so that you can figure out what to do. It might not be easy for us as adults, but we've got videos posted, so we figured it out. It's not a huge challenging thing, all right? Our work on the teacher end takes a little bit of understanding. So let's get to it. And let's start with how to create a grid. Now, I've been trying to think of an analogy for the grid and topic kind of thing. Here's the best thing I've come up with. Creating your grid is kind of like painting a wall. You get the wall all painted and nice, that's your grid. And then you hang individual pictures on the wall. Those are your topics. So each topic is an individual thing that goes on one grid, okay? If you have one class of students, you just need one grid. If you're a junior high teacher and you have, let's say, 3 periods of one type of class and 2 periods of another, you might want different grids right now for each of those content differences, but you might not want a grid for every period, because maybe it's okay if all of your 8th grade language arts kids are on the same grid so that they can really have a deep discussion, different than what you might do in the classroom. So the grid is like the wall, all right? So this looks busy, but it's not. For teachers, you're gonna go in, you're gonna go to flipgrid.com. I put a note that apps are for kids. The iPad app is largely for students. There is a way that you can go around and go to a website and choose the educator dashboard. They've added those features, but really a computer is going to be the easiest way to go. You are going to go to flipgrid.com and you're going to log in. Now I'm going to tell you, if you want to just watch this, the slides will be available. I designed these slides so that they'll step you through when I'm not here, and you'll have the recording. So if you want to just watch, that's okay. You're going to go to flipgrid.com. Step 1, login is either up here or it's in this 3-dot menu if your screen is narrower, but you'll have login and you're going to use the Google button. Okay. So students don't sign in this way, teachers sign in this way. All right. When you sign in, you'll see a screen that looks kind of like this. And I want you to see there's a bunch of stuff going on at the top. You've got all kinds of tabs. My grids, that's where all of your grids, like I was mentioning, if you have one for each period or for each content, maybe you share students with another class and you want to keep them separate. I don't know how much you want to keep things separate right now, but when you get back to the regular classroom setting, you might want to keep them separate. Those are all going to be in my grids. Okay, oops. My activity is another useful tab because this is where you can see what's recently been added. Okay, and then you've got your add new grid button right here. So this is where we're going to go to add a new grid. Okay, here's an example where I have grids already. Okay, so if you already have grids, you've still got your add new grid button. All right, so the first step when you go to add new grid, you're going to see some options. Let's talk through what they are. First of all, you name your grid. You might have noticed my grid was HESD Learning Teachers. I just gave it a name. Okay, then you're going to choose. Don't choose public. Okay, they designed this for like adult groups that need that kind of thing. This isn't an option for us. We're not going to do that. You can choose school email, which is what I did, where anyone that's in whatever domain I give can sign in. Or you can choose student ID. Okay, and then you're going to create a flip code down here. If you go to flipgrid.com/frizzle42, it's going to take you to my grid. Okay, you'll have to sign in, but it'll get you to the grid. And then next. Okay, so these are your initial settings. The next thing is where if you chose school email, you're going to put in wyneme.org and hsdschools.org. Okay, those are our two domains that you want to allow. For this teaching one, I probably could have left off HSD schools so that students can't log in, but I wanted to show you, you just add both of these domains. All right, and then next. If you chose student ID, that means when a student signs in, they're not going to use a Google email, they're going to put in their 300 number. That's fine. You just need to add their first name, their last name or their last initial, and their 300 number. Okay, and then it's saying these students are allowed to sign into the grid. Okay, you can add them one by one. You can grab this template. CSV just means spreadsheet. It's a comma separated. Okay, so it'll give you a spreadsheet that'll have a column for first names, last names, and 300 numbers. You can get that from Q and just copy and paste it in from a roster. And then it'll list the students here that are added. Okay, so those are your two options. You don't do both. You either have your grid for email or for student ID. Okay, and then next. So after you've created your grid, you're going to see it right here. And you have some options. In actions, you'll see the most used options. But if you go to the pencil, you'll see all of them. So that's what I'm going to show you today. Okay, in the pencil, you have all kinds of things you can choose. This is the one that's important right now. Okay, this little section called features. However you want to get your notifications that you have new videos. If you want an email every time someone submits a video, you can choose that. Daily is usually sufficient. Please turn off download and share. We don't want students to be able to download videos and share them, so toggle this off. Okay, you can auto-generate captions if you want, but that's guaranteeing that they're in a quiet place. I would leave that off. The email notifications are whenever anyone records a new video, it's not just replies, so I generally leave that off. And then this option is interesting. You can make your grid active or you can hide it. If you're working on a grid but you're not ready for other people to use it, then just make it hidden and no one will see it. Okay, so you've got those options. Where were they? They were in the pencil for the grid. And if you had more than one grid, they would just all be stacked up right here. All right, the other thing that's in settings is maybe you don't want the white texture or whatever they chose for you, you can change that. Okay, you've got featured, nature, people, textures, you've got all kinds of options and they update them and change them, kind of like choosing a heading on a Google form. Or if you have your own picture, you can put it right here. Okay, and then update the grid to save your settings. All right, so that was in the grid settings. So that's all there is to creating that first grid, that wall. And I want to stop for questions.
There is one question. It says,
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about the videos not posting until a moderator has viewed them? And I assume they mean
Yes.
it's submitting.
Yes, that is not a setting on the grid. That's a setting by topic. So yes, we will definitely talk about that because that's important. I did not have videos set to moderate today because I don't want to have to go in and approve them.
What's the time limit for videos, Liz?
You choose, and we'll get to that in the topics too.
Can you add students to a grid after you created it?
Yes. So if you're using the email sign in, it doesn't matter, right? You don't have to change anything. But if you're using the student ID and you get a new student, you can go in, add them in the settings for the grid, and they'll still see all the topics from the past.
And there's a request of if you could scroll back to the feature screen.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And reminder, all of these, all of Liz's trainings, all of these will be posted on Mission Control, and she'll be showing you that at the end. So you'll get another chance to go in and take a long, hard look at all of these slides.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Okay, so that's setting up your grid. Now's the good part, adding the topic, like hanging the pictures on the wall. All right, when I went in, I created this grid. When I went in, this topic was already here for me. It automatically had that say hello topic. So it adds a friendly interaction. And there's a reason Flipgrid does that. Flipgrid people know, another, similar to Seesaw and Flipgrid are two companies that I know of that are so run by teachers and get so much teacher input. Nothing happens in those companies that doesn't go past a teacher saying, what's the way that this makes the most sense? They know the best way to learn something new, particularly with technology, is to start with the very low cognitive load, they call it, a low stress, low heavy lifting kind of activity, just to friendly say hello and figure out what Flipgrid can do. So they set that up automatically for you. All right, and I went in and adjusted the settings, just like what I'm gonna show you here. All right, but what I wanna do to show you now is this. We're gonna add a new topic, okay? So you'll go to your grid, you click anywhere in here, and then go to new topic. As an aside, if you happen to click right here on this link, it's gonna show you what it'll look like to students, okay? But anywhere else that you click, it's gonna open up your grid for you. And then we're gonna add a new topic. So when you go to the new topic, there are quite a few options in the setup and then in the settings. But to start, this is really pretty straightforward, okay? Name it. I named this one reading reflection, okay? Recording time. You've got a toggle button here. You can choose, I wanna say it's up to 15 minutes. It's way longer than anything you probably really wanna watch from each of your students. Keep in mind, the discipline of being concise is valuable. So saying, well, I do want them to talk about their reflection, I think I'm gonna give them 10 minutes. If they raise their hand to tell you about what they were reading and they talked for 10 minutes, you'd probably cut them off and go, okay, get to the point. Let's be concise here. So on the recording time, if they run out of time, they're able to go back and re-record. I wonder how many of you noticed when you create your video, you can watch it again and then go, oh, wait, I wanted to do this, and you can re-record. Okay, you can also pause and you can edit. So students figure that out. You don't really have to teach them. If you've only got a minute, make it good. Get your good stuff in there, okay? So you name it, you give it a recording time, and there's a little toggle that I covered up with my arrow, but it gives you some options. And then you give a prompt. Give them a basic idea of what you want them to do, okay? When you scroll down, you can add a focus. Remember how ours had that greeting hand? That was an emoji or an image. You can add jiffies are fun that show a little thing. You can add a video, or you can upload your own video. If you're going to create a video just for Flipgrid, don't create it separately though and upload it. just click right here and record a video. Okay, so I could, on this assignment, I could do, hey everyone, I just want you to tell me about the book you're reading. I'm curious. So tell us a little bit about what it's about, what kind of person might like it, but don't spoil. And you could just give a little recording. Okay, some of these other things you can attach, you can explore later, but I would suggest just focusing right here on these things. And then you create the topic. All right. And then it tells you your topic is ready. It gives you this. If I give you this grid code, if you have a book that you love, hey, after, feel free to go to this grid code and tell us about the book. All right. Here's your code. You also have a QR code if you're fancy. If you were in the classroom, this might make sense to project this on your screen and go, hey, go into this Flipgrid. I don't know how super useful this is going to be right now, but you've got the option. Really, this code on the iPad, you type in the code. On a website, it's flipgrid.com/this, but if they go to flipgrid.com, they'll see that they can add the grid code there. All right, so this is the information you need. Notice there's a Google Classroom button. So this will create something in Google Classroom. I haven't tested it that much, but I know that that button's there. So you can go straight to Classroom. Okay, and then you're going to choose All Set. And there is your grid. You guys, that's a grid. All right. But before we finish, we need to go in and take a look at the settings. I'm sorry, I just said grid and I meant topic. Okay. So in this topic, I want you to look at our breadcrumbs up here. In my grids, I'm in HESD Learning Teachers. Here's my topic. If I wanted to go back to the grid, I can click right here. But here's my topic. You could see I added a little animation. Okay. I've got my code. And then I want to adjust settings. Again, the most common things are right here in actions, but all the options are in settings. Okay, so far so good. If you have questions, type them in.
Liz, is there a limit for how many video responses can be loaded onto a grid?
Nope.
For example, let's say you teach 8th grade science and you want all the students that you work with, and it might be over 100, right? To post. Can those all be posted on the same grid?
Yep.
And everybody else, all the students can view each other's posts?
I have never seen any information that there's a limit to Flipgrid. And I know high school teachers use this and they might have one grid for the whole year. So you can have as many postings on a topic and you can have as many topics on a grid. I don't think they have any limits on that.
Special education teacher, would they be able to create individual grids for each student, but share one video prompt? For example, if she has 5 students needing a lesson prompt on paragraph writing, but she wants to keep their responses confidential, private, is this doable? Does that make sense? I think what she's trying to say is she doesn't want the other students to be able to view the other students' work.
A couple things come to mind. One is you could have different grids for each student, but that sounds kind of like a headache to maintain. The other option you have though, if we set the videos to moderate, you can just moderate them and never post them. And they'll just come to you, right? So maybe if that person wants to email me after, we can brainstorm some ways that that could work. But those are a couple things.
So we've got several questions on that, Liz, that teachers are concerned that are student responses shared with everyone or only with teachers, and maybe go over that again.
Well, the purpose of using something like Flipgrid would be the power of students being able to see their peers' responses. So if you're wanting something more confidential, maybe Seesaw is a better place for people to submit those videos, because Flipgrid is all about that social media kind of connecting with each other kind of deal. So I mean, you could do individual grids and just have that person allowed to sign into that grid. But it seems like if that's what we're going for, there might be a better tool.
But Liz, maybe I think teachers have a chance to check out a response before it's posted, or
yes.
Okay.
So we can set that to moderate. That's going to be in the settings for the topic right here.
I think that's what the question was referring to.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Moderating is definitely a thing. Okay. So I want us to look at settings and see what we can do. This is by individual topic. So you can have one topic like a hello that's open. You can have more strict settings on something like a explain your math process. Okay. So let's take a look at what's in the topic settings. When you go to this new topic, I want you to see we did the description and then I said to choose create topic. You also have more options and this is going to get you to the settings also. Okay, so 2 ways to get there. But the settings start here. I don't use the topic tip very much and I don't use the attachments. If you had something you needed to attach, you could do it here. If you're using Google Classroom and you're wanting to give them some resources and then say when you're done, go to Flipgrid and record your response. I would think the classroom might be a better place to store those things, but maybe you have a speaking tips, how to record a strong video and you want to attach those here or a link, you have that option. I haven't used it, but the option is there. Okay. As you keep scrolling down, you'll see topic status. Here we go. Here's where you moderate. And I'll show you in a little bit where those videos go, but in settings, you need to toggle on moderate. Okay. Here's where you can make a grid active or hidden. There's something else cool you can do in a topic. You can hide a topic. So like over the weekend, get your Flipgrids ready for the next couple weeks and just hide them, make them active as the time is right. But here's this other option of frozen is kind of cool. Once you're done with the topic and you don't want students posting on it anymore, freeze it. Maybe you have reading response for distance learning week 1, reading response for distance learning week 2. You don't want people to get confused and go to the old one, freeze the old one and make the new one active. They can still see the videos to get book recommendations or whatever, but they can't post on it. Does that make sense? I hope. Okay, so those are your options right here for the status. Student to student replies. I think student replies are super cool. I love that students can create a video and then another student can come in and go, oh, that made me think of this. That made me think of this. I wonder about this. Maybe the original video poses a question and students need to post replies to answer it. Okay, there are all kinds of options. And again, if you have them moderated, you're going to be moderating those responses as well, which may give you some teachable moments if people just record a video that doesn't have any reflective content. They just wanted to say hi. So you've got the ability to turn that off. You've got the ability to turn it on. Okay, that's in the topic settings. And again, that's going to be different for every topic. So maybe this topic, I want my students to reply. This topic, I don't. Okay, and then here's your launch and freeze date. We were talking about frozen over here. You can set it to freeze Friday afternoon. Make sure you've posted before this time and you can set that to automatically freeze. All right. As you continue scrolling down on the settings, you're going to get to video features. Okay. In this, I think it's automatically on video and selfie, and I might have changed it to selfie only. The question is, do you want them to be able to use filters, stickers, drawings on the video they create and the selfie? Just the video, just the selfie? I generally haven't used the stickers and the drawing. I can see a case for how drawing might be helpful on the video. Generally, I just do for selfies only because the video is the content that the teacher wants to see. The selfie is for the class. That thumbnail is for engagement and for fun. Okay, but you have that option here to decide what makes sense for your students. They can add a title. You noticed you added a title. Okay, or you could. The video count. You can see how many times people have watched the video. I generally leave that off. Students can add a sticky note while they're recording. This is really helpful if you're showing them how to compose their thoughts before they record. I want you to make sure you've talked about these 3 things. Maybe use a sticky note to list those things. It just shows, you know how you saw the little video of yourself, puts the sticky right next to it so you can refer to it. Okay, can they edit? Can they rearrange video clips? If you want to leave this off at first so it doesn't become another thing, and then maybe turn it on later, that's fine. Can they attach something? Can students like? I generally leave the likes on just because it's nice to get a response when you've posted something. I'm not necessarily interested in view counts, but likes are kind of handy. Okay. As you can continue scrolling down, you're going to get to feedback. I'm not talking about feedback at all right now, but it's an option down here. Okay. And then you can create the topic. Okay. That's hang on. It'll either say create or update. The way that we made the topic and then went into the pencil, we're updating the topic. If it's more options and you keep going, it's going to create the topic. I'm hoping that difference makes sense. Okay. None of those settings aside from moderate are a matter of student privacy or student safety. You have to do this, make sure you do that. That's all just what makes sense for your topic. But with your students, do have your videos moderated, please, so that you can preview them first. Okay, so the grid, creating a topic. How are we feeling about that? Questions?
Liz, can you share topics that you make with other teachers?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't have a specific answer to that right now, but I will make sure I address that in the next one. What I do know is, hang on, I'm making my notes. What I do know is that you can add a they call it a co-pilot, a co-teacher, and have two teachers on one. But I don't think that's what this question is asking. I think you're wanting to create the topic and then share it with someone else so they can use the same one. I'm sure that Flipgrid has thought about that and has a way to do it. I just don't know right now what it is. But I will make sure that gets addressed in the next section.
And did you say that there are topics that teachers can choose from rather than making their own?
But when you first create your grid, it automatically puts in that hello topic, is what I was meaning. But the answer is yes. Flipgrid has a ton of topics that you can choose from and use. And that will be in session 2. This is the first time I've done. I can't cover everything in session 1. Those things will be in session 2.
Liz, after you review student work, after you moderate, how do you share the student work? We have that question.
I will show you. I have slides coming up. They'll be in our next slide.
Okay. Also, this teacher has 2 grids with different topics in each.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different links to access the 2 grids.
Mm-hmm.
So are these grids for different community groups?
Could be. You can have as many grids as you want. So when we finish here, I'm going to go over to my Flipgrid and we'll dig around a little bit.
Okay.
You can have as many grids as you want, but each grid is going to have its own grid code, just the way each topic has its own topic code.
Okay. That is it.
Good. Okay. All right. So now you've done the work to set up the grid, to add at least one topic, possibly more. How are you going to share that with your students? It's really, really pretty simple. Okay. Here's your grid code. This would send your students to that grid where they will see all the topics on the grid. But remember, you can hide the ones you don't want them to see. You can freeze the ones you don't want them to post on. Okay. But as a teacher, if you say, hey, go to our grid, it's always Frizzle 44, then they'll see the grid and see all the topics. Okay. And you can share that however you would share anything with them. You can post it in Google Classroom as a link. You could post it in Seesaw. You could text it to them. However you share information, you can just get that with them. Okay. Here's that add co-pilot when I was saying you could add another teacher. I don't think that's what that question was asking, but there's the option. Okay. Also on the topic, of course, you have your topic code, which is right here. By the way, if you click on the link, it's going to give you the student view so you can see. Okay, so those are the 2 links or the 2 codes that you just need to share with people. And it can be a classroom assignment. It can be a note in Seesaw. It can be whatever is easy. Okay, now, when you go to see, have students recorded anything, my activity is where it's going to be. And you can see, oops, now this covers it. Go away. Okay, you can see where the arrow is at the bottom. that when I took this screenshot, there were 0 videos. So if you remember, oh, there were 0, but now there are 17, then you'll know to go in. But it's easy to see in my activity. 1 grid, 3 topics, some of the data here. And if I go to recent videos, I'm going to see everyone's recent video. Okay. If I had these moderated, and I don't, but if I had them moderated, it would be the toggle right here. Okay. Okay. So if I want to see my moderated ones, I would go there. But you can see how I can see the videos. If I see one and go, oh, I don't want to post this one yet, I can make it hidden. There are the options there. I don't see anything there that would be useful. But anyways, your moderated videos are going to show right here where you can go ahead and make them active after you viewed them. Okay, does that answer the moderated question? It's really, really pretty simple. Okay, so I can go back to my grids. I can click to see my grid. Here are my topics. I added another topic. If you go to my grid at Frizzle 44, you'll see this topic as an example. After reading a few Newsella articles from A Mile in Our Shoes veterans, share some thoughts. All right, so there are the grids. There's the activity. Really, just looking up here, they've made it pretty straightforward. I want to ask you, what are some ways that you can think of using Flipgrid? What kind of topics have you thought about that this might be good for? This is a great way for your students who maybe the video Google Meet doesn't work because they can't get it that time or they need to wait until whatever. Flipgrid is a great way to let them feel like they're interacting and hearing from each other without having to be in the same place at the same time. We call it asynchronous stuff. And then if you have any creative ideas for what's worked to share the code with your students, let's take a minute and pop those in the chat.
Liz, if a teacher posts the link to a Flipgrid in Google Classroom, but this student has never used Flipgrid before, and they click on the link, will it prompt them to sign up or will it go straight to the Flipgrid?
You know, that's an interesting question. I think it will prompt them to sign up. Even on a Chromebook, it'll still have them sign in, but they'll choose Google. So if you tell kids, here's a Flipgrid link, click on it, sign in with Google, and then look for the big green button and record a video. Try it out and see what you can figure out. Post your questions in the class comments. Okay, give them that hello topic to get the bugs worked out and figure it out. But those are the 2 pieces of additional. Give them the Flipgrid link and then tell them you're going to need to sign in with your HSD schools. You're looking for the green button.
So I have a couple ideas. Leticia Rizzo has used Flipgrid where she has read a story to her students. She videoed through a video. And then she has had them record an answer to a question she posed after reading the story.
That's a fantastic idea. I love it.
Nanette Malero shared that students could read a page from a book that they like, or you could do a math talk.
What about like a number talk? Would that work in something like this?
Tyra put that, you know, after, based on what they're reading, they could verbally make a video verbally summarizing the last chapter they read.
When we think about in the classroom, you can only listen to a couple kids at a setting. You don't ask a question then have all 30 answer it, but this is a chance for all 30 or however many to talk and to share their thinking and then hear each other, hear it back.
This is a good question, Liz. So we had Seesaw training yesterday, Flipgrid today. What's the pros and cons of each one? Should a teacher pick one to try, or what do you recommend?
Well, they're kind of different. So the way Seesaw gives you the ability to have the activities and the posting and all of the things that students can add artifacts of their learning to Seesaw, that's more of a whole package kind of experience. Flipgrid is one element. The thing that's easier about Flipgrid is students can see each other's videos, where in Seesaw right now, you have to go in and share them with everyone. This is a little more conversational. I would start with Seesaw as you're comfortable with Seesaw and as the students are used to using Seesaw. Maybe in a few weeks, go here, let's try something new. Today, I want you to, maybe your activity is content-based. And then when you're done, click on this link and record a video to show, to talk about what you did. And add Flipgrid after Seesaw is a little more routine.
Liz, is the engagement data that shows the views, video, hours of engagement data, is that for each grid or each topic?
I think it's for the whole, your whole Flipgrid. I think it's for all your grids together. Yeah, across your grids. I think it's for everything. It's kind of fun though. 18 minutes, that's how long it takes to walk through the world's longest Minecraft tunnel. So every time I had on my other one, it's some space fact.
If the teacher doesn't use the moderate feature, can a student post a video and then go back and delete it or edit it?
Let's find out. Okay, so I come in here. We didn't moderate it. I have the list of all the responses. I can hide one. Can the student delete it? I don't know.
I like making a mixtape.
That session 2.
Oh, so okay, I have to wait for that.
Yeah. I mean, for you guys that are really curious, go click the mixtape, the disco libraries, and the shorts. That's going to be session 2. So Flipgrid has some awesome stuff.
We have some more ideas for how to use.
Yes.
Mary Porter writes, be a great tool for a 1-minute fluency read. Greg uses it. He has his students posting motivating videos. This is a great connection idea for times.
Maybe some memes.
Yes, students want to hear or see their classmates, and all 163 of his students can visit when they need to.
If you think about that, if you think about the student who's really missing school and checking in with their friends and their peer group, being able to jump onto Flipgrid and watch some videos, it's kind of maybe the 4th or 5th next best thing, but it's a way for connection to be able to feel like you're not isolated quite as much.
Liz, has Flipgrid been added to the student iPads? Yeah, okay. And we have students who have recorded videos, but they can't see the other students' videos, right? I think you covered that.
Maybe they weren't active in moderation.
Right. Kat Russell has a really good idea. Post a debate question where the students take a side and explain their opinion.
That's a great idea. If you're going to do that, I would leave the reply option on so they can reply to each other. That'd be cool.
So and I have got this from a couple people, they're having trouble seeing videos once students have submitted. They got a message from Flipgrid saying they are preparing the video. So
I don't know on that one. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll have to.
That sounds like a Flipgrid.
Yeah, I think, because that's not someone saying, do they need to be whitelisted? But
no, this is different than YouTube.
Yeah, this isn't YouTube. Okay, so we'll look into that one. And you did say that teachers can be co-teachers, so 2 teachers could share a grid and add topics. So, all right. Deanna wrote that as a Spanish teacher, this would be amazing for oral language production.
Yeah, think of this, and with our ELD students too, that are shy to talk, being able to sit down with the device and record on their own, but you still get to hear, it's a great way to practice language.
It was pointed out, and I think this is something to remember, that, you know, like with the fluency reads, that we wouldn't want want to be really mindful of not letting other kids see it. This could, you know, fluency read, it could be for those that are struggling with reading, that might not be a positive thing. Okay, what did you, where did you get the tile with the welcome sayings, for instance? So,
this?
yes.
I think we're talking about, okay, so let's show that. If we make a new topic right here, Okay, I can go in and I can find all kinds of things, and I'm sure that waving hand is one of those. Okay, so I just went in on my reading one. On my reading, this person reading, I just added the little jiffy, and I think I put reading. Okay, so those are all in that when you first create the topic.
I think
Any
we're
other
covered.
questions? The last thing I was just thinking of, you notice this one says pinned topic. That means it's going to stay at the top even when I add new ones. And last night, well, how is that one pinned? Whichever one you drag to the top becomes the pinned topic. So you can decide which one do you want to stay at the top. You can just rearrange these however you want to. Okay, so you guys, your goals, our next session for Flipgrid, they're in the tech newsletter today, and they're also on the mission control site, which I'm not going to forget to show you. But your goals before our next session, create a grid for your students. Give them a topic. It might be the automatic hello topic. Maybe you have some other ideas of things you want to try. But make it not a huge consequence one where it's just go and explore, post something quick and see, okay? Have them go to the topic, have them record the video, and just see how it goes. Start out with hey, I learned this new thing. I'm trying this new thing. I think this might be a good fit for our distance learning time. Let's try it out and see how it goes, okay? But that's your goal. Set something up and give it a try before our next one so that you have some experience, and you'll probably have some questions to bring also. All right, so before I wrap up, I don't want to forget bit.ly/HESD mission 20 is the mission control site. When you go here and you go to blast off PD for DL, I tried to keep it short. Okay, right here, these are the TSTs for next week if you want to check them out. Right here, let me go to Flipgrid, arrow down. For session 1, here are the slides. You can click there and see the slide deck. Here will be this Zoom recording where you can go here and see the recording. And then there are also some Flipgrid resources in the pre-flight. So that just links you right to this page. Okay, which has some resources, some information, some stuff to help you there. All right, so you guys, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate that you guys are learning teachers. This has been a really fun week of Zoom sessions and getting to check in. I miss the face-to-face interaction of doing trainings, but this is the next best thing, and I know you guys are feeling that with your students also. So thanks everyone, we'll see you later.